So the kind of things that break marriages here will not break marriages in Nigeria. The woman is the breadwinner, but the man is still the head. The man still dictates what happens.
No, I've seen there are marriages in Nigeria where the woman is.
Well, we're not generalizing. We're not generalizing, but I think because he's a man, he doesn't have to put her in it.
I've seen men in Nigeria that help. I've seen
and it's not a problem.
Men in Nigeria that help.
No, I know they help. Amaka,
yeah.
Welcome to Life as You See podcast with A&A. Welcome to another episode of our podcast. On this podcast, we bring you entertaining, exciting, relatable, informative topics around faith, love, relationships, social interactions. And today, as usual, I have my co-host, Amaka.
Hello.
Hello.
Welcome.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. We're at the last day of spring. Can't wait for summer to come.
Summer. Oh, please come summer. I love summer.
Yeah.
I love the sun. So today our topic is...
Yes, we're going to be talking about why marriages abroad fail.
Abroad? Why not? It's only abroad. When you say abroad, what do you even mean?
Okay, that's a good question. Diaspora. So abroad for us is America. We're originally Nigerian, so abroad for us is America. Okay. And it could be anywhere else for other people. Some people might be UK, Canada, Germany, Russia, whatever. So but that's a good question. Marriages fail everywhere.
Yeah,
not
that's
just
what I was
abroad.
like. Is it just abroad or is like, okay. Yeah, marriages fail everywhere. Marriages succeed everywhere too as well.
That's true. But I think we're seeing higher rates of or incidents. I mean, with social media, you see it every day on YouTube or on Twitter, on the news, where people, especially now where there's a mass migration in Nigeria, people are leaving Nigeria due to socioeconomic situations and they're moving to other countries. And when those couples move, they begin to have challenges in their marriages. Granted, those challenges might be there even while they were in Nigeria, but moving somewhere else, it seems to, escalate. So what do you think about that?
I think it's just maybe a new environment, adjusting pressure of a new environment. I know there's been I don't know whether it just feels abroad, so I'm being careful to say that because I know that there are marriages that fail even in Nigeria, that fail in other parts of the world. So I don't know whether it's just more underreported in those places and more reported here, right? Because if a marriage fails, you have to do divorce, go through the legal proceedings. But we do know of cases back home where there's a separation, but there's no divorce. Do those ones still count? Or people are not living peacefully? Do those count as failed marriages? So I think there's a lot of context, nuances in other places that could play a factor. But it brings me back to the point that so we're just looking at why marriages maybe here in America for immigrants fail basically, not American marriages.
Yeah, that's true. You've made very valid points there because a lot of things in Nigeria go underreported, right? Sometimes those marriages they were traditionally wed. So when the man is divorcing, the woman is just go. There's no legal contract to say, I'm divorcing you. So it's just...
So just return bride
They just return bride price. Yeah. But it happens. But would you agree with me that chances of marriages, right, failing here most times is higher than back home in Nigeria? In the sense that in Nigeria, I feel like marriage is a more sacred or regarded more sacredly or, there's a lot of regard and respect for marriage compared to here, the way culturally, right? So one of the things I think leads to marriage, marriage cessation here in abroad is cultural differences. When two couples, a couple come from Nigeria where it's a patriarchal society, the man calls the shots, is the head of the family, provides, the woman just stays home, right? And then you come to a society where it's not necessarily the same.
I think it's changing everywhere. Even in Nigeria, we still have women now that are still working. We have women that are working that are also being equal partners.
So what I said is patriarchal. If I get the pronunciation right, patriarchal. Yeah. So that woman is working, but she's still under a system, a patriarchal system, right? That keeps her under the authority, right? And dominance of her husband. Let's be frank.
No, I don't necessarily agree
Okay.
with that.
Okay.
I don't necessarily agree that she's under the dominance of her
Maybe
husband.
dominance is not the right word.
Yeah.
But there's a system at work where she knows my husband is the head. Even if I'm working, right, and my husband demands that I bring my salary and give to him, like I submit it to him and he manages our finances, right? I would do it willingly because it's the system. The man is the head of the home. Both, Christian, like religiously and culturally, that is what we know back home. But you come to a society like this where, well, yeah, I mean, we're in partnership. This is marriage. I agree. You are the head of the home, but it is more of a partnership. You don't have that kind of control over me as, I don't know if what I'm saying makes sense, but I think there's a difference in the way both systems play back
yeah
home.
I agree to an extent with like the cultural issue. Like it's more like revered, like marriage as an institution is more revered, it's sacred, but I don't necessarily think that the woman is like under the dominance of a man, because we've seen marriages that even like the woman sometimes is like the bread, some marriages, and the woman still does whatever she wants to do.
That's what
even
I'm saying.
In Nigeria,
the woman is the breadwinner, but the man is still the head. The man still dictates what happens.
No, I've seen there are marriages in Nigeria where the woman is.
Well, we're not generalizing. We're not generalizing, but I think
still kind of has a say. So I think my point is basically like things are changing even in Nigeria that you're looking at.
Sure.
It's no longer the norm of women stay home and then the men go to work and then the men provide. Men are going to work now. Women are doing all those things that
that men used to traditional male roles.
Traditional male roles.
So that's what I'm saying. I'm still saying the same thing, that women do all those things. Women are no longer confined in the kitchen and in the bedroom or whatever. Women go out, even Nigeria now, and work. But the system, like there's something that demands them to, regardless of whichever status they get to, they are still subservient, or they're still underneath their husband. I'm not saying man, because it's not about man and woman, it's about husband and wife, right? The marriage system, the way you get it. But when you come to a new country like America, where it's a different society, that cultural element is no longer there, right? It's not a patriarchal society here. Neither is it a matriarchal society. It's just a society where everyone can be anything, right? And you bring it into marriage, and a lot of time it creeps into marriage. That's why women here feel like, oh, if this isn't working for me, I can step out, right? My husband and I I'm not saying it is biblical, because biblical, like when you talk of the Bible, the man is the head of the house. I'm saying culturally. I'm not saying biblically, Yamaka. I'm saying culturally, right? So this society is such that it doesn't have that element that enables the man feel like, oh, I am above you, I can do what I want, right? And he kind of empowers the woman such that she feels like she has a voice. And a lot of men who are very traditional and cultural in that sense, they won't be able to stomach it, because it's almost like, oh, you're questioning my authority, I can't take it, you should be underneath me. And a lot of times that's what leads to divorce we're talking about, or I think from my perspective. No, I don't want to. We can disagree.
Let's go ahead. I just don't agree with like the whole is the cultural. I think Nigeria has changed. Maybe as in like even Nigeria that I know now, like it's different. Like women are working. Like I don't think that women feel like they're under the dominance of their husbands. Like in Nigeria, like there are countless marriages where even 2 months the wife said, I'm not doing again in Nigeria. And we only hear about like the celebrity status ones because those are celebrities. But they are under the radar ones that happen. People marry even in Nigeria 2 months. So I don't think it's a peculiar thing just in America. I think it's more magnified because of the reporting.
So you're saying there's no change in dynamics. There's no change that makes women come here and realize that, oh wow, okay, I don't have to conform to what I don't feel comfortable conforming to.
I just think that if you were gonna do it in Nigeria,
you were gonna do it anyway.
You would do it anyway.
Okay.
I don't think that America plays a factor.
Okay.
Do you get what I'm saying?
Okay.
I just think that if you were going to do it in Nigeria, if you were gonna walk out in your marriage in Nigeria, you will still walk out here. If the same situation you had here, you were facing it in Nigeria, you will still walk out, right? Like you gave an example.
You walk out in a society where they insult and look down on divorced women. That there's no regard
and they don't care.
on divorced women?
People have and they don't care because it's all about life, right? Those things that you are saying that like are protective factors, right?
Yeah.
A little bit of protective factors like the shaming and the insult from people, right? Has still not kept people in their homes.
It's in Nigeria. I feel like it's most times when women walk out like that, right? Is usually under like very extreme situation of maybe DV, domestic violence, or threat to life. That's maybe when a woman would just open and say, carry her leg and walk away. Now, again, I apologize if I'm generalizing because I mean, Nigeria is a lot of people, right? So I can't just, marriage is different. But I'm just saying the overwhelming majority, a lot of times, women, the kind of things that break marriages here will not break marriages in Nigeria.
Because they're just two different environments.
That's what I'm saying. That's where that cultural difference is coming in now.
I think, well, we're saying the same thing, but in different way. Like, if you come to like America, right, there are different things that will make a marriage break that Nigeria will protect you from.
Yes.
For example, you talk about like I think you were going to talk about like workload and all those things, right? Even like in Nigeria, even if the man say, okay, I'm not going to do the work, right? You can get a house help. You can get a nanny that will still shoulder some of those things for the woman.
Okay.
Do you get what I'm saying, right? But here, there's no help.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Do you understand? There's no help at all.
Right.
What I'm saying is that, okay, let's say reverse the case. If workload was the issue and they came here, right? And that woman had access to an affordable nanny, and they had access to an affordable driver, and workload was the issue, was it more of like pressure of the workload and demand, do you think that marriage will break? Even though it will break now in America because they don't have those things.
Yeah, and that's because again, I'm going back to that patriarchy. It's expected in Nigerian context that as a woman, even though you and your husband work in the bank, you both come back home late, right? As a woman, you should go into the kitchen and cook. You don't even, let's even say you don't have house help, right? Like you don't even think of making those kind of demands because you should take care of the home. Both of you have gone to work. He can go have his shower, rest, sit at the table, you serve him food, right? You don't even... you're
talking this thing is 1950. I don't know.
So,
okay, let's do...
No, but
I
but
think
you know what
you're saying of serving food. Nigeria, I don't know of any... I have friends in Nigeria. They are this thing
I have
saying,
friends too.
They go to work, they come back, they go and
to
carry
the kitchen
food and serve their husband.
No, well, maybe okay, maybe I'm going... But they still take care of domestic work. They take care of the children.
Help.
The man doesn't have that responsibility. They have help, but most times they don't leave the help to their children to the help. They still put eye. They still participate, but the man doesn't. He doesn't have that, and the woman doesn't demand it of him because he's a man. He doesn't have to put eye in it.
I've seen men in Nigeria that help. I've seen
and it's not a problem.
Men in Nigeria that help.
I know they help.
Yes.
We're just
that's
looking at statistics of why he comes here, because that same marriage, right? That same marriage, for instance, they come here to America, both of them are now working, and they go to work, they come back, and the man will now be doing his own thing. The woman will now be like, wait, am I not a human being like this, man? How will both of us go to work and I'll not be doing house? That is when she even start questioning, why are you not helping me? Because the way the society, like, I'm just driving it back to the societal elements, right? Because women are now, they feel like, oh, wait, I can't be the only one doing this, these traditional gender roles. The man needs to contribute and let's work together. But I get what you're saying about help. In Nigeria, she can get house help. Both of them make things up, but here it's not like that, right? You can't get help easily.
Yeah, you can't get help. I'm just saying that I feel like they called, like when you move to a different place, right? And you see the Bible that talks about like when you get to Rome, behave like the Romans. Automatically, your consciousness, there's the power of environment that influences people.
Yeah.
Just the fact that you have moved from one place to another place, it will influence you, except you are intentional about what you want and stay committed to your values, right? What I'm saying is that most of the things, like the workload thing, like it became an issue when he was in America. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. And I get your point that I understand to a certain extent that because it's not a patriarchal society, then a lot of things, women are more like empowered and have a voice.
Have a voice. Yeah. I feel like a lot of and we're going to go into more, right? But a lot of times, men who are very rigid in those traditional patriarchal values, they struggle a lot here, right? When they come here, because it's hard because they grew up, and it's not their fault. I don't blame them, right? They grew up knowing in Nigeria, like, I mean, I'm the head of the house, I provide, this is my role, the woman is this. And they come here, right? A lot of them forget that, hey, Nigeria is different, this place is different. You have to
true.
come up here, help your wife. In Nigeria, she could take those things, just like you said, Amaka.
Yes,
she could afford to have help.
Yes.
But now she doesn't have help.
Yes.
How can we do it now?
So I think one of the things is like being prepared and making your research before you leave.
Yes,
right?
Yes, that's
and
true.
Talking about things, right? Not when you go, you now see the reality, or the reality now dawns. You're now like, this is not what I expected. And there's always options. Like if it's not working out I always believe that there's not always one way to do something. There are many ways to do things, right? If you see that something is not working, right, for your marriage, this place is not working for me, why are you killing yourself staying there? You understand? You can make alternate options. If you feel like your marriage is so important to you and it is something that you want to hold on strongly, and being in a different country where there's no help is really affecting it negatively, fine, I expect the man to step up and help. But if it's something that is really, really affecting it, it's not the end of the world if you're not in America. I know a lot of people don't want to. Do you get what I'm saying? I'm saying that priority too.
Yes. So
like,
to save your marriage.
It's not the end of the world. As in, and I know that, please don't, it's not from a bad place I'm saying it. I'm saying that in everything you do, priority too comes in. Like, what is more important to you, right? Like, as a human being, right? Or just for your family, you as a person, like, what is more important to you? Is it the status of being in America, or
so your advice for such people is probably consider. It might not be a bad option to go back.
Yeah, or at least make your research before you come. What normally cracks people, like the marriage up, is you come and you're thrown into this, so it's shocking to you, and you've not even made arrangements on how to deal with it before you came. Like, you just come into a new place. It's so shocking. Now, the man that has never boiled water in Nigeria is not expected to help the wife. You know, sometimes it's easy to see it from a woman's angle. I try to be more balanced and empathetic too. I'm not saying the man should definitely step up and help his wife, obviously. But for the man too that has never boiled water too, and you too expecting him that from not boiling water, he's going to come and start cooking a goosey soup for you in Nigeria. You know, those kind of things. You talked about traditional men. You know your husband is a traditional man. You know the person you married has never lifted, has never boiled water.
Yeah. So now you're putting the onus on the woman.
I'm not putting don't get me wrong. I'm saying
she shouldn't expect that much from her husband, knowing that he's who he is the way he grew up.
Yes.
Right? So she should be No, I'm with you. I understand what you're saying. I get what you're saying.
If like do them upside down, they cannot cook anything.
Yeah. True.
You understand? So you making a demand for that, it's not going
to. Won't, even if you shake them from here to, they will not be able to do anything.
It not do it in Nigeria.
Yeah,
you understand? Yeah. Where do you want you to start learning? Like, I don't know. So for adults, it's hard. It's hard.
Change. That's true. But Amaka, I think what maybe breaks such marriages is it's not something as basic. It's almost reductive to even think that it's cooking that will break the marriage, right? It's things, it's more of character, the man's character, right? A man might not be able to cook or boil water, but he's kind. Do you understand? He's kind. He has empathy. Both people have empathy. Like you're saying, this man grew up in a family where his mom, he didn't cook. So, woman, understand your husband, understand his challenge. He wants to help you, but he's limited, right? And then you too, man, understand your wife. She's not a log of wood. She too gets tired, you know. So both of you together, and we're going to go into compliment her. Have patience.
And again, for me, it's like it's not a competition. It's a compliment. Marriage is complementary. Where one person is weak in, the other person is strong in it.
Yes.
Where the other person is weak in, you two are strong. So if somebody is really good at the domestic thing, you two pick up the slack in other things.
Yes.
Or the house, you know, these ones where you pay, the man can decide, we don't want to pay for anything, we can be doing, I'll do the yard work, I'll do the trash. You understand? Let me speak outside. The point is, don't leave everything to your wife, but have realistic expectations.
Your wife have realistic expectations, right? Good.
Because sometimes it's like, somebody that hasn't boiled water, how are you gonna expect you to start cooking?
Yes. Have realistic expectation. Understand. So another thing I was gonna say is change in social dynamics, right? Because in this society, like we've been saying since, women have as much voice as men, right? So you now come for a very traditional man who believes my woman should just be tag along to me, right? In Nigeria, but here, not necessarily. Your woman can stand on her own gidigba. You two stand on your own gidigba. Both of you bring something, to complement each other. So a man who is more traditional, maybe not very secure in himself, might feel threatened when the wife, begins to maybe show forth her, I don't want to call it masculine side or masculine energy, but show more dominance and more assertiveness, right? It becomes a problem for them. So in this case, it's not even housework. It's just for him, this woman, now you have open eye. Now you belong to a group of friends where they're talking about their dreams, their visions, their goals, their go-getters. You're no longer thinking of just only me and the children. Do you get? So that also breaks marriages, right? The man becomes threatened by the wife's success, her social,
But I'm sorry to say, that thing has been in that man. It's not because you are succeeding. The man have been insecure from the beginning.
But in Nigeria, you were not a threat to him.
That's what I'm saying. Now, but it has been
but they come here.
Yeah, maybe this one just magnified it.
Exactly.
But I will say he did not start in one day.
I agree. It's a character issue.
Red flags.
It's a character issue. Yeah.
Because it did not start in one day. So that one, I don't understand it, because if you feel that marriage, like I said, marriage is complementary. It's not a competition. The reason why you're looking at your wife as she's progressing and you're being intimidated by it is because you're viewing it as a competition, right? It's supposed to complement you. It's to your benefit too, right? Yeah. If both of you are one and you're working as a team, the success of one is the success of all. You understand? Yeah. So that's teamwork, making the dream work, right? Yeah. So one person succeeding is not stopping another person from succeeding. Rather, it is a collective success. Yeah.
So all of these things are all pain points, pressure points that could break marriages.
They could.
So they are not challenging. They're in Nigeria. Just like when it comes to abuse, what we consider abuse in Nigeria is not. What we consider abuse here is not abuse in Nigeria in a context, right? When you discipline your wife, like there are just so many things. I would say, some men, they'll be like, you have to do, your parents didn't train you well, let's discipline you. Some of the women feel like, oh, my husband, oh yes, but when the woman comes, they're like, man, this thing is abuse, so don't do it to me anymore. It becomes a problem. So all of these things contribute. And because I ran out of time, another thing that could contribute is financial pressure, lack of support, like you said, adjusting to a new environment. Imagine in the winter, it's so it's just so many changing.
There's a lot of
weathers,
change. And just in general, that's why I always say, if you're coming as a couple, do your research. There's a lot of change that comes into a place.
Lot.
You're getting used to the weather. You're getting used to the food. You're getting used to the way that
people interact, work,
how they work in that place, the system. You understand? There's a lot of pressure on you.
Yes, exactly.
So please do your research. And hold on to your values.
Yes. And some of the ways I think we've realized that can be, that can help ease this situation is be open and communicate. You've said it before. Communication. Don't just, we've gotten visa, we want to come to America, want to go to the UK for better life. Fantastic. But before you go, sit down, have a business meeting, like real family business meeting. How are we going to operate? What will be our running principle? Because what will work for us here might not work there. So house chores, finances,
the children, who will stay with them, who will work, both of us working, where will they be? Like things to consider. You understand? The children, you have to plan.
A, B, C, D, E, to Z. Plan. Even though they say man proposes, God disposes. But at least have a plan. Don't just appear.
Yeah. Because so that when you go and things are not falling where you say this was not the plan. No, let's go back.
Let's pivot.
What we talked about. You understand? Let's go back to the plan. Yeah. Because also, like we've talked about, the pressure of a new place will try to influence. If you don't have a plan, you'll just be following the wind. So having a plan at least helps, so that if you are going away from the plan, or one partner is going away from the plan, the other partner can say, can we go back to this? This was what we talked about before coming. So communication is paramount.
Yeah. Another thing is employing empathy. You know,
empathy,
people don't honestly.
important.
So empathy,
It's very
kindness,
easy to see things. And one thing with human nature, it's very easy to see things from your own
perspective.
Because to you now, in your mind, you can be like, I'm doing everything. I'm doing the work. If this man doesn't know what I'm going through, the man is thinking to the same thing. I'm doing everything. I'm doing this thing. This woman doesn't know what I'm going through.
That is true.
So the most important thing is that tell yourself the truth. Be empathetic. What am I doing? What is the real situation? Don't empathize too, because when you empathize, you really want to understand where somebody
you put
else
yourself
is
in the other
from.
person's shoe.
Yeah,
you know?
and you are able to better provide help rather than judgment.
Yes. Be adaptable.
My dear,
African man. See, those traditions, it served us for so many years, but a time has come, we need to pivot, we need to tweak, you know. So the man, be adaptable. Woman, be adaptable.
Everybody
right?
be adaptable.
Everybody. You can't be having hot breakfast
children.
every morning. Even children, be adaptable. You're in a new place. You know, if you love your marriage, if you want to keep your family unit, you know.
Yeah, I'm adaptable.
Another one, be each other's support person.
Yes, support.
It's hard. You know, your husband goes to work. Let's say he's the one working. Working in Nigeria is different, and we're going to do an episode on that. It's different than working here. Yes, honestly, when the man comes back, woman, don't be antagonistic. Why didn't you do this? No, I let him relax. Like rub his feet, make him feel happy. You know, yeah.
Rub his feet. I like that.
And when she's down, the man lift her up. Both of you. You know.
Yeah. So
another thing we'll say is faith. Hold on to God. God. I know naturally we're religious in Nigeria. A lot of us go to church, but when you come here, you even need God more. It's not religion. We're talking of God, like relationship, like with God.
Because if you don't go to church, nobody will call you and check on you. Pastor will not call you. So you really have to focus and make a commitment and say, I'm going to church. I'm going to keep my faith. I'm going to do my quiet time. I'm going to like those things you used to do in Nigeria, let it not just be when it was in Nigeria.
Yes.
Because a lot of things will pull for your time. So you have to make a conscious effort to keep your faith alive and going.
Yes, and it will help your relationships. And finally, therapy and counseling. I'm pro therapy and counseling, right? So a lot of things are changing. You've changed environment, you've changed job, everything. Sometimes your mind is just everywhere, you know, so you have a lot of unresolved situation. If it's your church, there are counselors in church, or if it's paying for a professional therapy to actually take you through, you and your husband, your spouse, right? Go through that counseling, even with the children. Let them process their feeling, how they're feeling about their new environment. It really helps. I think it helps, you know.
Yeah.
So,
and we are just knowing that this country and the Western one, I'm talking about America. Yeah, you need to have the support of your partner, because I feel like it makes a whole lot of difference. It can be lonely in a different world. So having support, having people around you that have your best interests at heart is always very important. It's very, very important. So
very elemental. Yeah. Thank you so much for watching. We love marriages, and we want our marriages that African Nigerian marriages to thrive here in America and wherever you are around the world.
Pro healthy marriages and relationships, and we want them to thrive,
to succeed. Yes. So this is our 5 pence, or how do they call it?
7 pence.
Our 2 pence on the situation which is making rounds right now. Okay. We hope you enjoyed this episode. Thank you so much for joining us. Please
like, subscribe, comment, share.
We appreciate your support. Thank you. So we'll see you again.
Bye-bye.
Adios. Bye.